Well, looky here. This is the last car I have in my rotation on this YouTube channel for the summer. This is the 2026 Volvo XC60 T8, which is a plug-in all-wheel drive SUV. This color is unique because I've seen the darker version of it, but this is the lighter one. I'll get you that name in a second because I happen to have the window sticker. It's going to be called Forest Lake. Now, when it comes to vehicles, I have some very specific parameters. It has to mainly be rear wheel biased. It has to have a very good suspension, and air suspension is preferred, right? So that's one. That's two items. Very good seats, that's three. Extremely good headlights, well, that's four. And a kick-ass stereo. And here we are at five. So let me tell you about this Volvo, because this year has been very expensive with vehicles. And if you look at my last 7 videos, I had a $72,000 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro. I had a $80,000 disaster called the Lexus TX. I did have a reasonably priced $50-something thousand Grand Highlander. I had the what else did I drive? A couple other cars. You'll see it in my history. I'm blanking out because this thing. Oh yeah, I actually reviewed it right here in the rain, which today it did rain earlier, but it's not now. I had the Genesis GV70, which was $72,000. This one, I'm going to get you the price in a second, but let me break this thing down for you because this eclipses all of those vehicles. Not price-wise, but all the things I bitch about on those vehicles, basically it's negated. None of it matters when you have one of these because this addresses all of the issues in all of those cars. And let me break it down for you. The first thing is the stereo. This is the best stereo you can get in any car. And let me explain that. Here we are with this blonde interior. You see that? Bowers & Wilkins stereo. Okay. Bowers & Wilkins in a Volvo is not cheap. Well, it's not that expensive either, actually. So we are looking at $3,200 for the Bowers & Wilkins stereo, which is more than I'd spend on a stereo at home, and probably most of you have spent on a stereo at home. Comment below what the most you've ever spent on a stereo system at home has been. Basically, if you're spending more than that here, well, I guess you'd have the XC90, but basically you are buying this with the Bowers & Wilkins stereo. There is no way around that. You must get that option, okay? Because that's the 5th check mark on my list of extremely quality cars. Secondly, the Lexus TX. I complained about it being all plastic. Look at this leather. This leather, so smooth. It's buttery smooth. I don't know what to equate this thing to, but gosh, it's addicting. You just want to sleep on it. I mean, it's amazing. If you could drive naked, you probably would. And these seats, by the way, are massage seats. There's a massage function in these seats, and they are multi-adjustable. The bolsters come in and out. The seat squab goes in and out. And the only thing that's weird on these Volvos, every Volvo that I've had, is that the headrests are fixed, but they're actually for a purpose, and that is for crash worthiness. And they're actually very comfortable as opposed to something like, oh, I don't know, our Mercedes. So what we're going to get into, though, because this is the 2026, is this whole new system. Let me start the car. So if you're not familiar with Volvos, this is a very familiar Volvo look. It's just blasting the air right now because it's kind of warm in here. Let it do its thing. Volvo hasn't really changed these cars in the last several years, and that's a good thing because they freaking nailed it. And you'll see real wood. And you know it's real wood because some bonehead journalist, not me, but someone before me, probably a mommy blogger, probably put a Starbucks drink here, a nice latte or whatever, and left it here, and it actually warped the wood. So I'm going to tell Volvo about that because I can actually feel it on the underside too. It's warped. But it should be a smooth, clean look. And yep, don't ever put a drink on top of that wood. But that's how you know it's real wood, not plasticky wood. That's real wood. Something that the $80,000 Lexus TX couldn't do. So here we are. An amazing stereo, leather, wood. We definitely have connectivity here because I have had an issue connecting my phone here with Bluetooth, which is really weird because in the Volvos I've owned, it's never been an issue, and in the Volvos I've driven, it's never been an issue. But that's okay because I can just sign into Google. And I have my contacts, I have all my stuff in here. I'm just hoping that one day in the app store for this car is that you can actually get Google Voice, which I don't see on here, but you can pass the time while you're parked with games and Google Chrome and all this stuff in the car, not even from Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It's in the car. And of course, I'm not a fan of Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, but now that the car has a built-in, you know, all it's missing is Google Voice. That would be amazing. Anyway, this is all new. When they replaced their Census system with their Android-based one, it sucked because all the features that they had in their original Census disappeared, and now they've like changed it again. But if you look around, you know, some cars, they just have settings and it says like PCM or PASE or CRAP, and that whole thing doesn't exist here because there's either an icon that tells you exactly what it does, or it actually says what it is. So if we go into settings, look at this. It's actually describing everything. And obviously you can change your sound system settings. We can go from front to all to driver, rear, stage. We can change the whole sound setup in this car. And what's amazing about this stereo is that Sirius satellite XM radio, you couldn't tell it was Sirius. It was so crisp and clear. They've done something here. I know it. I can just tell you, I have my suspicions, and my suspicion is that they're doing some incredible digital trickery here to make this sound amazing from Sirius satellite, which is hard to do. There's no that wavy, tinny underwater sound. This thing is clear, like you're listening on Bluetooth from your phone from Spotify. By the way, there is Spotify built in, which is what we're listening to here right now. Right there. Boom. So, yeah. Let's see if I can figure out what I'm doing here. I wouldn't say it's exactly intuitive. Oh, yeah, it thinks I'm driving. But I think you get used to it after a while. And you can actually expand the map. We can go back here. And basically you've got your entire Spotify system here as if it was on a tablet, which is really cool. And I don't think you would necessarily get the same experience with your Apple CarPlay, because I don't have an iPhone, never did, never will. But your Android Auto is similar to this, but now you just don't even need your phone. You can just leave your phone behind and just drive. So this car is brilliant. So the handling wise, let's skip past the handling, because hold on a second, right? I've always said like Mazda is the Japanese Audi. Volvo is so much more. Volvo is, you know, Volvo is way above an Audi. Okay, the reason for that is because this thing has 455 horsepower. So as slow as I want to go to listen to this amazing stereo, driving this car for only a week, having it just for a week at my disposal, there's no way I'm going to putt around just so I can listen to this amazing stereo. I want to, but why? So I'm like, ooh, is it all about the great music? Yes, it is. Ooh, is it about the 455 horsepower? Oh, absolutely. This thing is just delivering across the board. You see what I'm saying? Real leather, real wood, great stereo, 455 horsepower. Pretty good fuel economy too, because it is a plug-in hybrid. So it does surpass all of the cars I've driven in the last several weeks. On my YouTube channel, you'll see them all. This thing has been delivering. Let's see if I go into here. 28.9 miles per gallon is what I received during my week with the car. And that's driving like a complete a-hole, because there's only one way I drive cars, and that is to the limit. And that's so that I know what these things are all about. If you don't drive it to the limit, how, you know, if someone's not doing their due diligence for you, how would you ever trust them? Here I am driving this thing as hard as I please, and it just delivers. I'm listening to this stereo as hard as I want, and it's just delivering. Wireless charging, so they have made some change here for 2026. We still have, sorry, $1 billion lottery ticket here. It's gonna win, I swear. We still have our cup holders in our outlet there, and the one thing is that people may complain about, which I kind of did when I owned an S60 T8, was that the storage was very minimal. But if you think about it, Swedish design is very minimal, and they're not really into clutter, so you shouldn't have clutter with you. The only downside was, where do I save my sunglasses? And I don't know. Like, that's the one thing. Like, they don't have a sunglasses thing, but they do have an aftermarket thing, or not aftermarket, an optional accessory that goes in place of the bar here, but on, I think on this side, I'm not sure, but don't quote me too much on that. I know I've seen that. So I've owned a S60 T8 hybrid. I've owned a S90 T6 R design, which it was a lease. It was awesome. And then I owned a Volvo C30 T5 R design manual, and that was fun too. I missed that one too. I miss all my Volvos. But basically, what we're looking at here is something that's way more powerful than an Audi, way more luxurious than a Lexus. And it checks all the boxes, because this actually does, when you put it into different drive mode, let's put it into power, it's going to start the engine. The car is actually lowering because it's on 4-corner air suspension. And I wish I could display the headlights for you, because the bright lights, there's actually 2 sets of lights. When you hit the bright, there's a main upper beam, which turns on and then glows brighter. And then when that glows brighter, it's because the bottom beam turns on as well. So you actually have 4. You know what? Let me just turn these headlights on. I usually keep them on auto because that's very simple to do, but I'll go here. There we go. Turn those on. We also have auto wipers, which, unique to the Volvos, you push the button in and that keeps your auto wipers on, and it retains that memory. And then if your wipers are on in auto all the time like this, you'll see that icon there. I don't know why my focus is so wrong today. There we go. And if your windshield gets misty and the auto wipers aren't kicking in, or maybe you get like a stream coming down, you're like, all you have to do is tap down and it will do the mist wipe. And you're not changing any of your settings. You still have your auto and all that stuff going on. So the Volvo design is far superior to a lot of other vehicles out there. I dare you to come up with a car that actually has even more thoughtful. This thing just blows me away. We can put it in hybrid mode, which is your typical hybrid system. We have off-road mode, which will actually raise the vehicle. So I'll raise it right now. You might see it going up on its own there. Yep. So this lifts it to its highest point. Power lowers it to its lower point, and then hybrid keeps it in the middle. All-wheel drive basically sets the power between the front and the rear. Now, I say front and rear because the engine powers the front wheels, and it also charges the battery, which is here in this tunnel. So they have a lower center of gravity, and they have like a 18 kilowatt. We'll get over it when we look at the window sticker. They have a battery pack that just goes right in here, and then there's no drive shaft to the rear. There's no differential back there for the engine power. What's back in the rear is an electric motor. So you think, oh wow, well there must be, you know, kind of like those Toyotas with the hybrids, there must be no trunk space back there. But you're wrong. I'll show you that in a second. Always start in pure drive mode pure. What this means is every time you get in the car and drive off, it could be in pure mode, which is pure EV, which means it's actually rear wheel drive only, because it's only EV, which only powers rear wheels. So you can turn that on or off. And then there's creep mode, which means if this is disabled, you have one pedal driving like you were in a Tesla, even with an engine. But it uses the regen system to power the battery as well, or charge the battery. And the engine can power the battery too if you put it into charge mode. So this whole system is designed like if I was to drive from here to Austin, and let's just say Austin wanted to be Nazi-esque, I don't know, environmentally, and they say, oh no, you can only be EV on Congress Avenue. Well, guess what? I can charge on the way down, and then I can drive around Austin in hold mode, so I'd have a full battery, which I think here is 40, maybe 60 miles, and I can go up to 70 or almost 80 miles an hour on all electric in this thing. But I can basically go to hold, and that will hold the battery at the full charge that it's at, or whatever charge I hold it at. So I can charge down there, hold when I'm driving around Austin, and then when I go into downtown, I can just go pure. And that'll shut the engine off and put me right into EV mode. And you'll see the car's lowering, because obviously off-road mode is different from pure mode. And then I've air suspension control for ease. So every time you get in or out of the car, the air suspension will raise or lower the car to be where it needs to be. That's pretty much this system. We scroll down, we just have our notifications, and you can choose your owner. So obviously if you were multiple drivers without having to log in or log out of Google again, I think up to 8 drivers, which is a lot, especially if you've got if this is like a fleet car or a business car, it makes a lot of sense. But basically you can just flip to the next driver. And I think there is a way with your key to verify that you're not logged into somebody else's Google system, which obviously is important. And then we have I showed you the vehicle settings, but then we have the air conditioning system, which is amazing because we have heated, cooled seats, we have heated steering wheel, and then we also have a massage function. Oh yes, and this is also the air conditioning control. So we can do a air quality test. There we go. It shows you the quality of the air inside, the quality of the air outside. Luckily it's good today. And this will show you in the particular matter. And what is giving you the most issues today in the area you're in? I mean, it's very well done here. I wish my 2020 Volvo had this, but they think they introduced this in 2022. So there you go. It's a very it's cool. This thing's got so much going for it, but it's also simplified, so you're not distracted by anything, and then you can get back to this. Now, if you're from like a 2020 Volvo, these buttons don't do exactly what they used to do anymore, and like I don't have any more settings. This just turns on or off the map, and this will turn on or off the trip computer, and that's about it. It used to do more than that. And then we have our distance setting, which I haven't seen it do any distance setting, but who knows. I'll get right to the window sticker because I told you I'd tell you about it. Okay, so T8 all-wheel drive. So T8's the one you want to see. They also have like a B6 or a B5. But what we have is the same engine. It's a 2-liter turbo direct injection, but this has an electric motor and an 8-speed, which is made by Aisin, which is actually owned by Toyota, and a combined 455 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque. And the engine itself is 312 horsepower, and we're on 20-inch wheels standard, but this actually has the 21-inch optional wheels. And it also has the climate package, which I think includes the vented seats, and then the active air suspension, front seat massage, which you got to have. And then we come to $79,000. So this is the similar price to the Lexus TX, but much more car than the Lexus TX, because obviously wood and leather and the best stereo you can get in the business, in my opinion, especially for $3,200. I mean, obviously it's not a Rolls Royce with name, but you know, let's keep it reasonable. Let's keep it real. For less than 100 grand, 455 horsepower. I like that. Let me show you the headlights. Since I got the lights on, I'll put it in normal mode, and then I'll go back out and show you bright. It won't do justice because I'm obviously not illuminating anything. Daytime running lights are the horizontal bars, the outer quad there, like the Porsche Cayman or Macan style lighting there. But then, and that's the charge port. Let's push forward here. You could also put this wheel up when you're normal auto, then you can put it up like that every time for the automatic high beams. But we're going to go like this, and then we're going to push forward. So now you're going to see the icon there for the bright lights are on. Boom. I mean, there is a huge amount of light output here because you see daytime running light, standard lights here, and then when they turn the bright lights on, this comes on, fades in, and then boom, that one comes on. You were talking a crap load of light. Obviously for 2026 they've done some design changes. The grille was updated. That's the new language for Volvo now. And let me show you the trunk. But I will also do this. I will also go bam. I will change the car into hybrid, and I'll put it in charge mode, so that's going to start the engine and then charge the battery. So even though it's a hybrid plug-in, I haven't had to plug it in all week. Although you can, right? I forget the name of that plug. CC whatever. Back seat. There's no lock button back here. This is, I think this is the exit warning light. If there's traffic, when you're about to open the door, it'll warn you. Seats fold flat. Cup holders are in the, yep. And we also have a pass through here, which makes no sense. And this headrest will rise up. And I think there's an optional booster seat you can get. Maybe it's only on the 90, but there used to be an optional booster seat. Maybe it's on the wagon, which they don't bring here anymore either. So with the air suspension, you have the option here to raise or lower this back so your dogs can get in or out, or you can load mulch or whatever. Obviously a power trunk lid. You have a little hook here for your, I don't know, you can hang your wetsuit for when you go in the water. Looks like low tide, which is kind of weird because it's a lake. Anyway, back here, this is your trunk space. It's level with the bumper, unlike Toyota's hybrids. We lift this up, and there's our charger. I don't even know what they call this, CC something. I can't keep up with all this stuff. You can charge it on 110. You can charge it, I don't know why there's two in here. What's going on? I don't know what I'm looking at. Oh, and this is a 220, I think, adapter that goes into this alien looking thing. I think it just, yep, there we go. It's pretty cool. So, and then there's the main port that goes into the car, which, okay, let's do this. So we have a battery back here, but we don't have a spare tire. Instead, you're looking at air tanks for the air suspension, the silver ones, a jack, a fix kit, so it's a fit kit, and that's part of the fit kit. So it's the goop that goes in the low tire, and basically it's supposed to get you to where you're going. So maybe these are not run flats, I don't know, we'll check. And then a massive Volvo AGM battery. Okay, so let's put this back. I don't know what goes in there. If it's missing, it wasn't me, that's for sure. Get this in here. That's the problem. This cable right here. Get down. All right. Close that. So great headlights, great seats, air suspension, great stereo, and rear-wheel drive if you're in pure only, or power mode. It's going to prioritize power between the engine in the front and the electric to the rear, so there's a balance. And then there's a all-wheel drive version which kind of tries to do like a 50-50 split. Even though there's more horsepower up front to the rear, the torque, obviously there's instant torque with electric, so it's very interesting how Volvo did their secret sauce on this car. And we are running on D.R. Horton? What does that say? No, Scorpion Zero. All season, VOL, always Volvo brand tire from Pirelli. There it is. Yep. And these have been okay tires, especially in the rain that we had lately. The P6 Centerados, I think, on my S90 are kind of old school, but they did well. Actually, on my S90 that I leased, not many people know this, but I leased an S90 for 3 years during COVID. It was the cheapest lease of my life. It was the best car I ever leased because in 30,000 miles in 3 years, I never needed to put tires on it or brakes. That car, I literally just made the insurance and the car payment and paid for gas. And maintenance was included, which it is on this too. It is like, turn the key and go, and don't look back. And I regret not buying it, but just the way the residuals worked out, it was cheaper to get a Land Rover at the time. So now they don't bring the S90 here anymore. But this is their focus, and you can tell this is their focus. They are not messing around. Obviously the 90 is bigger, it's a 3-row, but if you don't need the massive barge 3-row size SUV, this is what you get. Now, because of the battery pack in the back, you have somewhat of a step here in the middle, so it's really kind of a 4-passenger car instead of a 5, but you can squeeze a 5th person here with this 5th belt. And this leather is amazing. Volvo leather, Volvo handling, Volvo power. Let's pop the hood. It's right there. Now the engine is running, but boom! Look how high that hood goes up. This thing, they do not mess around, man. 2 struts. Look at that. I mean, they're on fire here. Washer fluid, hybrid system. It's all for weight distribution. This thing's balanced, man. It's balanced. Actually, coolant here, which obviously you never have to mess with. And then it's transverse mounted, and that is your engine mount balancer craziness. It just purrs like a kitten. And of course your crash system here with this design. Oh man. Did I shut that? Yep. So, kind of sounds like a diesel. I hope that would be awesome if it was, but not in the US. Parking sensors, headlight washers, which the TX did not have, I think. It's complicated. Not the Volvo, but the remembering every single car, which is hard to do. Oh, heated rear seats too? I think that's from the climate package. Anyway, I wish I could demo the audio, but my phone wouldn't sound the same as Bowers & Wilkins, and then your system wouldn't sound like Bowers & Wilkins. I can tell you though, oh my gosh, just do it. If you want a good stereo and the hybrid system, obviously you get the tax credit when you do a hybrid and this and that for now. if you're looking at the TX and you don't care about price, and it's like the TX bored you like it bored me, and then you get into something like this. Obviously, this isn't the only color palette here, but yeah, I'm just saying. And then real crystal too. This is a crystal shift knob. Those Swedes. All right, so we have auto brake hold, which is not on. That's on. That's not on. And then we pull this back for drive. We're gonna get some distance here from that cyborg over there, and then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna put this. I'm just gonna go straight to all-wheel drive. So that preps the rear motor and the front motor, the rear electric motor and the front engine to be 50-50 with the power. So optimize power distribution to all four wheels when constant traction is needed, which results in higher energy consumption. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. So let me also turn off the brights and then put it back on auto. Okay. And then I'll roll the windows down actually so you can kind of get an idea for what everything sounds like. Pause the stereo. So in all-wheel drive mode, the engine will be on, but very stealthy wolf in sheep's clothing kind of acceleration here. It's not making any fart noises or burbling or, you know, it's just almost like effortlessly, silently fast. Power. All right. So now this is lowering the suspension. And then this is gonna be like more of an open exhaust sound and higher turbo kick and other stuff. Yep. And then what I'm gonna do is go to off-road, and that's gonna raise it. Okay. And that's actually going to give you a speed limit. It's going to limit your acceleration to very slow acceleration, so you're not kicking anything out. And you're at the higher ride height. Maybe I can get out and show that to you. Let's see if I put it in park, will it drop the suspension? No. Okay. Take my seatbelt off. No. Okay. Hold on, let me roll the windows up because this truck's coming in. There's going to be some dust. And just wait for him to go by. In the meantime, the only downside is there's no lock on the glove box. The glove box though is flocked and pretty large. And memory seats on the passenger side. The sunroof slider. Silly thing here, and sometimes I touch that when I touch the sunroof and it turns on all the lights. It's kind of annoying, and if you notice it's orange, it's because you were touching it for too long, and then that disables the dome lighting for when you turn the car or open the doors at night and stuff. So, and you can always push in here like that and it will vent, or maybe not. Maybe I didn't swipe it. Maybe I swiped it. Hold on, I can never figure this out. Touch. Yep, there we go. Touch will vent it, and a flick. I don't know what you want to call that. Flick forward, whatever. Oh yeah, it's still in I mode. So that's raised. It's a pretty cool color. It's very cool if you live like in the greener areas of Texas, which is very, very unusual. Get my seatbelt back on. Okay, we have some potholes here conveniently. This is my test road. We're gonna go over them at this off-road speed just to see if we have any creaking. Nothing. It's just my shirt against the leather. Nice. That was the door locks. And I think top speed in off-road is 25. Nope. Oh, I went to all-wheel drive mode automatically. Well, there you go. Huh, interesting. Which means it lowers down to normal ride height. Well, there you go. Now, I can't tell you that there is performance differences in the different modes you're in, and it really depends on how juiced up your battery is. So my battery here is at 0, right? If it was over 4 miles of range, you would have more boost with the electric motor in the rear to launch you forward. So charging it at night is not necessary, but if you do charge it at night, and if you don't use pure mode when you start driving and you start off in hybrid mode by default, what happens is you end up, oh yeah, you can do one more thing. You can pull this back and then you go into B mode, which is like almost like regen braking, one pedal driving, but not, because I still have creep mode on. So if I turn creep mode off, let me just do this. I'm going to pull over. Ready? To foot off the gas, no foot on anything, and it comes to a complete stop, just like that. The camera comes on, pretty good 360 camera. Go forward, right? And I don't think you have to be in B mode for that to completely work. Let's pull it back. I mean, I think you do actually, yeah. So now it's just going to coast and drive, even with creep mode off. But if I pull back, yeah, it's going to come to a complete stop. So there you go. I think you can't go wrong with the Volvo T8. It's been around now for almost 10 years, their system, and they've upgraded the horsepower combined rating, and they have upgraded the battery. I remember my S60, which was a 2020, had a 11.1 kilowatt hour battery pack, and I think now, oh yeah, I was going to get to that, we are at 18.8. So yeah, they keep adding more efficiency here, but I don't know exactly what the range is. I think it's 60 miles, could be even more. All right, let's go to the highway. So in hybrid mode, this is the normal driving situation, and you do hear the engine. You never hear the electric motor, obviously. But then we do have the option to go into electric mode. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Pure. There we go. Now we're just EV only. I'd roll my windows down, but then you're going to hear all the other cars. So it's only powering the rear wheels. And you can go 70 miles an hour. So you could take this on the freeway in electric mode. And if you had a 60-mile range, basically you'd charge every night, go to work and back in EV mode. You'd never use gas. There actually is a system here that will know the last time you filled up, based on, because you have to hit this button to open and purge the gas tank in order to fill it up with gas. It knows how old the gas is, and it will say, hey dummy, it's time for gas. So this is the beauty of having the hybrid system, because if you're in EV mode and your battery's low like this, you don't have to freak out, because the engine will kick in. It says pure, and it'll go to hybrid when it needs to. But instead of wasting our time, we're just going to put it into power. And see, it says lowering the icon. Let's get the windows up. We got plenty of space. We did have a bit of a traction issue on that corner, but I think you get the idea here. This thing is just, it pounces. You know, you see a little opening in traffic, it's yours. You can take it. And it's more obvious that it can do that when you have more range on the battery, obviously. And I don't know what it's doing for the battery health, but you can definitely check it. So you go into vehicle, and you can see a creep on or off. You can change those settings, and then you can go past all that, and you can go to status. And under status, it actually says battery. It'll say battery health is 100%. So it's measuring it relative to when the battery was new. So driven since last update, 870 miles. So, you know, it's pretty extensive now. It's like giving you more of an EV experience, but more of a normal car experience on top of that. So I really enjoy driving this thing because it's like getting into a regular car and being like, why can't it just be a normal car? And at the same time, you can be like, well, why can't it be more than just a normal car? And it is once it's in power mode, because you can just obliterate, especially Teslas on the freeway, because they don't really have high-end power. Most of them don't. The 3s, the Ys, whatever. They just, you know, after 70 miles an hour on the tollway here, they're easy to pass, especially in this one. It's beautiful. It really is. And then, of course, the stereo. So you're in a really nice cabin. You're in very, very comfortable seats. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Please like, subscribe. I got more videos coming eventually. We have a break coming up for the press vehicle pool fleet thing. We got more 2026s coming, but this is the first 2026 I've driven this year. And yeah, so I'm going to bite to eat, and I'll see y'all when I get back in the groove of driving more press cars. But for now, I'm taking a break. All right. Appreciate you all, and thanks for watching.